Hi, good morning or good afternoon. It's Sherry. It is January 1st, 2019. Nice to see you guys again so soon. Last video I did was last night. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you watched it. It was chapter 6. And today I'm going to be doing the last video on chapter 8 of the book Guinea Pigs by Dr. John Hall. And I think you'll like chapter 8 because this is going to be talking about targeted individuals. Okay, so this is a really, if not the most important chapter, because this talks about people, and when you're targeted. So, and if you want to get caught up, you can check out my other videos, because this is a series. I summarized the 4 chapters. So chapter 2, chapter 4, chapter 6, and then now chapter 8. So, and then after this, I'll be done with this particular book. For now, anyways. There was some other chapters that might be interesting, but we'll see. But it was fun. So last video in the series. So yeah, the whole book is named Guinea Pigs. It's written by Dr. John Hall, and he talks about the history of mind control and how it's being done today on human guinea pigs that are randomly chosen. Okay, they're using advanced satellite-based technology to do it, and the phenomenon of organized stalking, which was chapter 6, targets, well, who's being stalked? Targeted individuals, which are also usually guinea pigs of programs. Government-run, corporately funded programs that use human non-consensual guinea pigs, hence the name of the book. So this is New Year's, it's a new year, a new quarter, first quarter of the year, which is wonderful, new beginnings. But also too, just keep in mind that means a brand new quarter and brand new funding, for these programs, these black ops programs. So they got high-tech toys, right? Mind control technology, advanced technology. We'll talk a little bit about it, but the old videos, my other videos in the series goes into detail about, the capabilities. But we'll cover some of that today. Because, they have all these high technology toys, for the new year, more funding. So how are they going to do it? They're going to use their toys, right? Just like, the kids for Christmas, they got all their stuff. They want to go and use it. Well, unfortunately, these toys are mind control technology tools. So who are they going to use them on? Well, you need minds, right? Not monkey minds or dog brains or, rat minds. You can only do so much. They're looking for human minds. That's right. Yours, mine, everyone we know. I hate to see you get picked for this program, but if you do, if you somehow find yourself in the position of being a targeted individual, don't worry. God loves you. You'll be fine. But let me explain to you what it is, okay? Especially since there's brand new funding for this, okay? All right, so welcome. You know the drill. For those of you who have watched my videos before, I really want to welcome you. Sherry Simple Summaries. And again, this is where I summarize chapters from books that I've read. And the book that we're and in this book, and in my video summarizing this book, I have lots of free info, extra. Get your free information. It's valuable. Your time is valuable, I know that. And so is this information in this video that I'll cover, okay? So I'll try to be brief, and I'll try to be thorough. And let's find out what targeted individuals are, and if you could possibly be one. Just to name my source here, or the book that I'm summarizing, is Guinea Pigs, a book by Dr. John Hall. Okay? Guinea pigs. And not the squeaky kind, the human kind, as in the world is a laboratory and we're the guinea pigs. Non-consensually, of course. Because, of course, if somebody asked you, hey, can I play in your brain? Can I do the psychotronic weapons on you? Can I, experiment upon you? Most people are going to say, no, thank you. No, a hard no, or no, thanks. I'm not interested. But the problem is they don't ask. The people who fund these programs and the people who carry them out, the perpetrators, they have lots of power because they have the money and they have the military strength and, perks. They hire people to do this program on who? Citizens, us. We all have brains. We all have minds. We don't want them controlled or experimented on without our permission, correct? Okay, so how do we get through this? Let us talk about it. All right. What are they after? Again, this. Happy 2019. Protect this more than you would protect your most valuable items, right? Forget gold and silver. It's all about the mind. Why? Because it is valuable. It is who we are. You know, you can't accomplish much without your brain power. Okay, and again, the name of the book is Guinea Pigs, Human Guinea Pigs. And just to give you a little visual illustration, for those of you who haven't seen my videos before, I use a lot of visual cues, just because I think that's important. Otherwise, it's just you watching me talk, and that can get kind of boring. So I'll keep it, you know, we'll use visuals. I think it helps illustrate the points as well. So I also want to show you the key points so that you know what we're covering. This video might be a little long, so just an FYI, you might want to watch it in maybe chunks. There's an option on your YouTube in the right-hand corner where it has save, watch for later. So I can definitely tell you that this video will go at least an hour. So maybe you can only have 15 minutes right now, 15 minutes later, 15 minutes tomorrow. However, you know, it's up to you. Again, I know your time is valuable. I know this. And so is this information, though, especially heading into 2019. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. I'll make it simple and, you know, organized. So, key points from Chapter 8 on TIs, targeted individuals. What is a TI? Is it like that song, you know, TI, rapper? Yeah, no, it's not that. It's targeted individuals, what it is. The rise of the TIs. That's kind of cool, right? But, you know, they're being targeted. So, but, you know, it's a kind of a double entendre. They're rising in number, people being experimented on, targeted, but also they're rising in awareness, okay? So, double entendre. What does Dr. Hall, the man who wrote the book, he's a doctor, he's a surgeon, I believe an anesthesiologist, so he knows his stuff, you know? What does he say about TIs? He wrote a whole book on it. Being a guinea pig usually leads to being a TI, or, you know, they're very closely related. So, is he one? Is he a TI? We'll find out. And the 6 phases of targeting, because it doesn't just come on full blown. This is remember, this is a program, so they have it's methodical. There's a method to it, okay? And this is also oftentimes military based that actually perform these black op operations. They're funded by the upper corporations, but the actual, usually it's a military industrial complex that ends up carrying a lot of it out, at least on the higher levels. And you have your local perps and whatnot, but at the higher levels, more than likely, it's military doing a lot of the targeting, okay? Not paying for the targeting, not funding it. It's not their idea per se, but they're the ones who carry it out at the upper levels. All right, so there's 6 phases. We'll go through those. All right, the first one, selection. Second one, surveillance. So first they select you, then they surveillance you. Third thing, they start stalking you and harassing you pretty overtly, you know, meaning out in the open. Number 4, defamation. They make sure to defame your character so that it makes it more difficult for you to get help, and it tries to hurt your self-esteem. Oh yeah, they'll bring your name through the mud. Make no qualms about it. They're serious, and it's a very effective tactic because it prevents you from getting help and tries to decrease your self-esteem. 2 things you need when you're being targeted. Okay, so number 5, attacks, electronic-based attacks, oftentimes, and also sexual assault, real-life attacks in your home. Usually, that's why single people are chosen, because they're easier to do these attacks upon. Number 6, monitoring. That's when all this is, you know, you've gone through all the phases and finally you end up in the monitoring stage, okay? So, and they say it's from, you know, to the grave. You never get off really being monitored. They're always keeping eyes on you. Wonderful. So that's why it's important to watch this video, because you need to know. All right, black psychiatry, that's the nickname. It's also called political psychiatry or dark psychiatry. That is the, or abusive psychiatry would be a good word for it, okay? So, make sure you can see all this. All right, also we'll talk about remote neural monitoring and what that means and how that's used in targeting individuals. Very fascinating. I covered it in Chapter 4. That's Chapter 4 in the book. But I'll cover it again real briefly, and you can go back and look at the video if it interests you. All right, defamation and scams pulled by the perps. Oh yeah, these are a wily bunch. They are serious. This is a program, and it's well funded. So they are making things happen, and it's very methodical. So they got some scams, and I'd like to expose some of them for you should you find yourself in the midst of them. Okay, because these can be life-changing. They can do things that really hurt you and or kill you or have you killed. So let me expose some of it for you, okay? What else? So we got stalker laws. This is very important because this is a stalking crime. You know, you're targeted and you're having people follow you and harass you, they're stalking you, right? But this is an organized stalking, as we covered, and done by the highest level of people, which makes it very intimidating and very hard to combat. But we can. First thing we're doing is making it aware, making an awareness of it, correct? All right. What else? Defenses against defamation. This is very important. Protect your name at all costs, because that's one of their biggest tactics, is to slander your name. Okay, make you seem like the worst SOB that ever walked the earth. It makes it hard for you to get help, and it makes it easier for perps to see you as non-human, to label you, and to then to harm you. Okay, it's called dehumanizing. So take away your name, take away who you are, label you with whatever label, and then boom, easier to assault you. Okay. Electrical disturbances in the home. I'll cover that a little bit because that is a tactic, and I'll explain, it's pretty much what it sounds like, but we'll get into it a little bit because I know sometimes people are being affected by this, and this can be kind of a disturbing phenomenon. But once you understand how it works based off the satellite technology, it's like, oh, okay. Because I know a lot of times people will think it's like spiritual based, which it can be. There is a spiritual realm, obviously, that's very real. So it could be that. And then also, though, the power of technology, they could be, using that. So these are the things we're going to cover. All right, let you guys get a good look. Very good. Okay, and we'll move it on. All right, so the rise of the TIs. What is a TI? This is a TI. It's targeting, organized stalking, means it's a silent crime and it's being committed all around the globe. People are being tormented, usually with technology, 24/7. They're called targeted individuals, which is a military term, and also paramilitary. You've heard the police and sheriff's department use that, state troopers, the target, because you're targeted. Okay, so targeted individual. Please research electronic harassment. The world needs to be informed. Okay, so just and again, Target, not the friendly shopping place. Although I do enjoy that friendly. I like Target. They have the best makeup and like the best little the cleaning supplies that don't have all the chemicals in them. Not that I can afford that. I just I use the old-fashioned Fabuloso or Clorox. But Target has great stuff all around. So, but we're not talking about that Target. I digress. We are talking about targeted individuals. Okay, this is on your back, figuratively speaking. You become targeted. Okay, rise of the targeted individuals. There has been a practice of using human non-consensual guinea pigs since the days of MKUltra, which is covered in Chapter 2. It's a mind control program brought over from World War II. The German soldiers and the German researchers, scientists, engineers, all that. A lot of them were given amnesty and came over to the United States, and they continued their mind control research. Because, of course, with world domination, mind control is a big factor. You can control the mind, you can control the body. So they've been after our minds for a long time. Long, long time. So, like I said, this is what they're after. Protect it. By watching this video, you're doing that. You're gaining knowledge, which is power. All right. So yeah, this is they've been using this MKUltra program since the 50s, after World War II, and they want to, and related projects, to find ways to control the masses. That's the name of the game. They want mass mind control. Just a few won't do. So don't think, oh, well, this doesn't concern me. If you have a mind, this concerns you, because they want it, right? And why? And how do they do it? The one way they do it is by testing research and development weapons and technology on people that are guinea pigs that they chose just randomly many times. They choose you to be a guinea pig, and then you become a targeted individual, right? Or TI for short. So from now on, I'll be referring it to as TI, targeted individuals. All right. So the human nervous system, including the mind and the body, as we talked about before, operate on frequencies. Remember, my favorite word of 2018 was electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs. That's because the brain operates on them. Every thought, every emotion is an EMF. Same thing with the body. When you're moving your hands, when you're blinking your eyes, when you're moving your mouth, those are all tiny muscles and tendons and, the skeletal system to do all that. But first, before they can move, the signal has to travel from the brain, that big, beautiful brain, down to the body parts to make them move. That's done in signals, and it's quick, real time. That's how we're beautifully made, aren't we? So, but That's how the body runs, the brain runs, and our environment. That is how we're doing this broadcast right now, is through the power of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, right? You've heard of frequencies in broadcast radio, FM radio, frequency modulator, things like microwaves, waves, small waves, microwave ovens. So waves is another word for frequency, okay? The world runs on it. We run on it. So it's used in technology, okay? It's wonderful. But however, our bodies and our minds are extremely vulnerable to electromagnetic frequencies, meaning they can be manipulated. Your brain is like an open phone, okay? It can't tell, which signal is coming from its own or which signal is coming from the outside. And it doesn't really distinguish. It just grabs it, kind of like when your phone, sometimes you look down at your phone and you're like, oh my goodness, it's trying to, sync with the Bluetooth. You're like, no, who are you syncing with? The brain does that too. Remember, because it runs on frequencies. So in order to manipulate the brain, you have to send in frequencies. And of course, with technology, they've conquered that. They have mastered that. They know how to imitate human brain frequencies and send them back in, or scramble them, or stop them, or, tons of things. Anyways, but that's the main point. EMFs. The body, the brain, and our environments run on it. Okay? So some groups of people have been able in the past to live off the grid, such as nomadic groups and separatist type of people, like the Amish or the Puritans, some people like that. Sometimes they were labeled by governments as domestic terrorists because of this. Why? Are they terrorizing anybody? No. Well, what's happening is the governing powers want to be able to control the masses. That means everybody. So if you have this separatist group of people living on the outskirts, not dealing with frequencies, right? They don't have electricity. They don't have computers. They don't have radio. Now, maybe for good reason, huh? We see what's going on. But no, they were labeled, sometimes they were labeled domestic terrorists because of this. So the governing powers realized they needed a more sophisticated and complete way to control the mass population. So meaning it doesn't matter how far you go off the grid, they want access to you. And your brain. They're like zombies. Your brain. They want it. Why? Because your brain is you. They want to control you. Not a nice thought, but that's what's going on here. All right, so the group of people that are now feeling the weight and brunt of this controlling process are called to as targeted individuals, or TIs. Okay, this rapidly growing group of people are the ones voicing the complaints of exposure to the satellite-based technologies meant to alter cognition and physiology, meaning a portion of the population is already being tested on for mind control through training, research, development, usually funded by big corporations, black operations, carried out by military-industrial complex, but paid for, remember that pyramid, at the very people at the top. Because why? For mass mind control. That's what it is. So yeah, I guess just another thing to bring up, this Project Monarch, that's the new name of the mind control program. It was supposedly done away with in the 70s, but allegedly it's still going strong. And why would it not? They just took out the name mind control and put in monarch. You can transform into a little butterfly after you go through all this trauma and have your mind manipulated and whatnot. You'll be a beautiful butterfly. You'll be a mind control slave. But I like the attempt to twist it into something beautiful when it's, Satan is good at that too. Well, I digress. We'll get into that later. But in the Bible, if you are a Christian, it does describe Satan as attempting to disguise himself as an angel of light. So how fitting that a mind control program would be trying to disguise itself as something beautiful, like a butterfly, when in fact it's not beautiful. It is a controlling, disgusting, depraved program. I digress. All right, moving on. So many of these accounts, when people were first complaining about this, because they've been testing for years, okay, since the 50s. So many of these people were written off as having a mental illness decades ago. But if you notice, the frequency and the similarity of the complaints of all these people, they're having the same complaints and they're similar, So there's a universal answer that this is all pointing to, because which is probable experimentation, human guinea pigs. Because, and the doctor explains it like this, and I think you guys would agree, everyone can't be having a delusion at the same time, okay, on the exact same issues. That is not a coincidence. It is a coincidence, meaning it's an incident that keeps happening and ceases to be random. It's not random anymore. That's purposeful. Because why? It's experimentation, non-consensually, for training, research, and development. Okay? So the data from TI says, Dr. Hall did some interviews, and for an advocacy group, there is an advocacy group for people who are victims of this, and it's called Freedom from Covert Surveillance and Harassment. Dr. Hall interviewed some of the people who are targeted individuals and used statistical data provided by that group through extensive surveys that they regularly conduct. Okay? Again, this number of targeted people is growing more as the training, research, and development is being done, which means that there's more need for more guinea pigs, right? Of course, they're not spending trillions of dollars on this training, research, and development just to be used on a few people in the population. This is for mass mind control. Mass, meaning basically everyone. You, me, and everyone we know. Okay? That's okay. And even if it was just for a few people, that still would not be right. But that's not what it's being built for. Mass mind control. Okay? So, Mr. Hall quotes that he has done several thousand interviews and hours of reviewing questionnaires by targeted individuals, and he has pieced together an explanation of their experiences. Now, mind you, this man is a doctor and an anesthesiologist at that, so he's very busy, and he's still doing this. So, you know, his research is very respectable, and his effort is commendable on this, because this is a real phenomenon, and you don't have to look any further than the thousands of documented non-consensual experiments that have been done already and that are still being done. And I gave you a list. If you look on, you know, there's a, I'll post it again, but there I listed 13 examples from the book of real life experiments non-consensually that were done. Like, for instance, the 500 testicular transplants that were done on inmates at the San Quentin prison. They weren't, you know, diseased, or they weren't doing surgery. They were just transplanting testicular for whatever reason, you know, for Frankenstein stuff. This is Frankenstein stuff. I mean, just do, you know, you'll know that from World War II. They were just doing stuff just to see what happens if we do this, if we take out a kidney, if we, you know, and it was all non-consensually. Of course, people aren't going to agree to be horrifically experimented on, you know. But now what the difference is that when it's being done on your mind with this new technology, a lot of the technology is obviously invisible. So it's the perfect crime. It also makes it hard to recognize, hard to know what's going on, and hard to prosecute. That's why we're here. Okay, because know about it. Okay, so if you think that they won't run non-consensual experiments on people, go do your research. They have, and they do, and they continue to. Okay, so we need to protect ourselves. All right. Again, see chapter 1 in the book for more specific examples. There's a whole ton of them. The doctor really did his research. So all victims are different with varied backgrounds, and they're collectively experience a very methodical progression of experimentation that's being hypothesized. So targeted individuals experience a form of experimentation that follows the 6 phases. And let's see if I have this so I can show you. Yeah, excuse me a moment. I'm always looking at my papers here. Make sure I can show you the actual, you know, hard copy. So the 6 phases of targeting. It's SSSDAM, like STAM. Not to say it like that, but that's how I'm going to remember it. I do little mnemonics in my head sometimes to remember things. It's very handy. So STAM, you're going through all that? What are they doing to you? I don't like to swear. Okay, so SSSDAM, which spells out STAM. Okay. So what's the first phase? Phase number 1 is selection. They select you as a target based upon whatever demographics they need. They need 1 million women in the Milwaukee County. They need 1 million single women in Milwaukee County. They need a mixture in this demographics. They need some, you know, they'll base it on, you know, culture, or excuse me, race. You know, we need out of this 1 million, we need at least half to be white. We need a quarter to be black. We need a little other minorities in the mix. We need some Asians, some, you know, some Native Americans, some Hispanics, you know, and that's how that goes. So, and then, so that's when you're selected. And then number 2, Okay, we'll get into this. Hang on a second. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, so phase number 1. Your targets are selected for a myriad of reasons at the local level because this funding comes from high up. Remember the pyramid? You know, so from the big fat cats with the deep pockets in the corporations, the ones that own things, not just, you know, small businesses. These are big monies, okay? Owning like islands to themselves, okay? Those kind of people. They're the ones that help to fund this, you know, among with other corporations. So, but usually the target is chosen at the local level, okay? So local would be, you know, state, city, county, things like that. Corporations within your state, city, or county, right? They're going to pull from their local pool. Excuse me. They're going to pull from their local pool first. Easier to monitor, right? Because then the people running the program will be in the same area so that they can monitor their guinea pigs better. So remember that the technology used is not available to the average person. Well, let's just go bit by bit. We're going to cover all 6 of these, starting with selection. How do you get selected to be a guinea pig? I hope most of you are not. Most of you watching this, I hope you never become one. But the threat is real, so people are chosen. More people are being chosen. This is eventually going to be rolled out on a mass scale. So even if you're not one right now, you probably eventually will be, more than likely. It's just the way it is. It's mass mind control. They're not pumping in trillions just to use on a selected few. Mass mind control. Okay. So anyways, the technology that's used to perform this is not available usually to the average person. They're using things like satellite-based technology with remote neural monitoring, which I'll get into. They also have things, military-level type of machinery, infrared machines that can see you inside your home, okay, or inside of buildings. Right? Well, why would they want to do that? Because they're pumping trillions of dollars. They're monitoring. That's why, you know. So they have those machines. They also have things like direct energy ray guns, which is just using direct energy, and they can pulse it on you. And it does things like burn your skin. They can damage your tissue. You know, all those type of things, just to name a few. There's lots of toys and gadgets in the technology world. And when your pockets are deep, there's no limit to these toys. Okay, but these toys hurt. These toys hurt your mind and they hurt your body, okay? And they cause things like sexual assault, okay? So these are high-tech gadgets that cost money and you have to have access to get them, all right? And you have to be trained to use them. So who better? That's why usually they use the military-industrial complex. This research is a continuation from the earlier behavioral control, as in MK Ultra, in which the operations that were done were mostly done through front companies. Okay, front companies is like back when the CIA was running LSD experiments on guinea pigs back in the 50s. Okay, so again, this is non-consensual. They're not going to tell you, hi, we have a new highly controversial drug that changes your brain chemistry and makes you feel like your body parts are falling off and you're melting. Can we use this on you? Can we pay you? And most people are going to say no. You know, and then sometimes if people know that they're being experimented on, it changes the results of the, you know, test or the research. So they like to use unsuspecting people just to get the real deal, you know, the real experience. So they would have bars, but they weren't really bars. They were safe houses. But it would look like a bar to the average person. So say you and your friend wanted to go out and have a drink at the local watering hole. Okay, oh, there's a new bar. And it would look like a normal bar. There'd be patrons, really CIA agents, but you know, you dress up anybody in jeans or whatever, you can look, you know, you're actors, you can be made to look like anything, right? You know, they'd have bartenders and you know, whatever, and they were all mostly CIA agents or paid perps from the CIA to do this experiment. So what they would do is pick people who didn't know about it that would come to the bar, safe house, front group, and they would put LSD in their drink or food items, or you can put in other items too, like cigarettes or whatnot. But the bars in specific probably use mostly drinks and food items. Okay, so then they'd give them the LSD, then they'd sit there and watch what happened. Okay, which LSD is a pretty strong drug, so I don't know, again, this is non-consensual. So these people were given LSD. They could have hurt themselves, and some of them did, you know, but that's what a front group is. It's pretending to be something else. You know, like you got those old, looks like a corner store, but it's actually like a Turkish in the back. They're doing laundering money and all that kind of stuff. I mean, not to say, whatever culture does it. I'm sure lots of people do that, but it's a front. Yeah, we're running a corner store. You're running an illegal racketeering business. That's none of my business, but that's what front group means, okay? So in this program, those businesses are the ones sometimes who will fund these programs, okay? Just so you know. The current experimentation is no different. These groups are given access by the people with the money to make anybody a victim that they choose based on any criteria they deem they want to. You're a pretty woman, you know a guy, or you're just, a guy ends up liking you. You don't know that he knows these people over here, and you reject his advances or whatever. The story could go a million different ways. Now all of a sudden you're on the list. Okay, you're a guy, you're at work, your boss maybe he's a little jealous, this and that, and you don't know that he knows somebody in one of these organizations. Oh, now you're on the list, because there's always a need for guinea pigs, and there's always people putting other people's names up to be on that list. And there's really no way, unless you walk on eggshells and live in a bubble, that you can avoid getting put on this list, either from the direct corporations themselves, having access to a myriad of names that pull up, throughout the cities and the counties, or from knowing somebody indirectly who knows them and gets you put on the list. So I digress, but that's how that happens. Again, that's how the selection process happens. So you can't really avoid it. Yeah, so we're only 1 degree away from knowing somebody who can get us put on that list, and the doctor says as much in his research as well. So there's really no way you can avoid it. Even if you're the perfectest person and don't offend anybody and live a good life, that in of itself, you could be the trigger for somebody that feels less than, and to get you put on that list. Oh, you think you're goody two-shoes, do you? And then, not to be funny, but if you're religious, you know that Satan's people and Jehovah's people are always usually at odds. There's a spiritual battle going on. So if you're a worshiper of the true God, do you think that you would be more likely to get put on this list if the list is being run by people who, worship Lucifer? Of course. So no way around it, really. Remember that. But that's okay. I'm just telling you how the selection process goes. I'm just the messenger. Okay? I didn't choose this. I'm just letting you know about it. All right? So the agencies at the top levels are interested in collecting data. So they have all this new technology, remote neural monitoring and this and that and all this machinery, and they want to know how it works. It's mind control, technology. So they need minds to practice it on. But the top levels are people like universities, like we read in the book. It said that back in '72, Stanford was one of the main universities. They got a $338,000 contract to experiment mind control, and they found out a lot of stuff, right? That's when they created the human dictionary out of actual thoughts and emotions by reading people's thoughts and emotions as they as they were converted to EMFs, the signals, electromagnetic frequencies. Then they made a dictionary out of those emotions and thoughts. Then they took that dictionary and created an apparatus that was able to mimic that, because remember, they're frequencies. So they're able to mimic those exact same thoughts and emotions on a frequency machine and send them back in to the person, unbeknownst to the person, remotely. You don't have to be in the same room. You can be across town. You can be in a different state. And they can send various thoughts and emotions back into you at any given time. Kind of, unsettling, because then you don't know, your brain can't tell the difference again. It just picks up whatever signal. So you don't know, is the thought your own, or is the thought, was it sent in? And sometimes the way you'll be able to tell is it will feel like a compulsion. Obsessive compulsive, like you have to do something right at that moment. That's usually a sign that maybe, possibly, it's not your original thought. Just an FYI, research it though, okay? Go over my other videos. I believe that's in chapter 4, remote neural monitoring. Okay, also too, they are funding things like the infamous 5G, okay? We're on 4G right now. What the heck is this 5G? Well, I've heard tell that maybe they want to be able to have humans make phone calls from their brains to other humans directly, which is a form of telepathy. Okay, well, telepathy is impossible. No, this is 21st century. It is, because remember, the human brain works on frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies. So does technology, this computer, this broadcast. So if you basically you're sending and receiving signals back and forth from the brain to the computer, so of course you could do it from a brain to another brain. that's being worked on. Just an FYI. So this is all this funding for all these type of projects. You know, they're trying to get everybody on a hive mind. You know, a mass hive mind. Okay, so we're all synced, as if we aren't already through social media and whatever. I think this is enough. This would be a good place to maybe like stop. But no, they're not stopping. We're going full force. So, you know, here we are going to talk about it then, right? Okay, so let's see what else. Okay, a small number of victims have come forward with evidence that they're actual whistleblowers who worked for like intelligence agencies and are being retaliated against, you know, sometimes when they're selected to be a target. But in a large part, most of the victims are common and ordinary people who live more or less normal lives, you know. So if you say to yourself, well, they wouldn't want to do that to me, I'm a nobody. That's who they want to do it to. They're collecting data and they're perfecting mind control technology to use on the masses. So yeah, they want you, no matter how little you are, how big you are, how important you are, how unimportant you are. You know, I'm sure they want important people too. They want doctors and scientists and celebrities and, you know, everybody, nobility and, you know, or nobility, you know, the high ranking people. They want those too. They want a little bit of everybody. But ordinary people, yeah, are often used for guinea pigs. So yeah. Through many interviews, with many victims that Dr. Hall did, he found out that there's some noticeable trends, such as the larger percentage of victims are female, not all, but a larger percentage than male. And they have reported drug-facilitated rape and sexual assault. Okay, this is a big one, and this is a big one, and okay, so. Many times this is not part of the actual experiments themselves, but this is the perks of the perpetrators, you know, who get the contracts on the target, you know, because remember, the money comes from higher up in the pyramid, okay? So university gets it, and they need, like I said, a million female subjects, test subjects, guinea pigs, non-consensual. You're not going to get a notice in the mail, you know, you have been chosen. This is covert. This is non-consensual. This is actually illegal. But it's being done. So, and they're not going to they're not going to make you aware. Okay. So they need 1 million female study subjects, participants from the Milwaukee County area. Okay. They need certain amount of, you know, white females. They need, you know, they just break it down. They have to be between the ages of, you know, 15 and 60. Okay. And then they pick who they want. You know, and then the people who actually, the perps at the lower levels who carry this out, this targeting of the individuals, the organized stalking and the harassment, that's one of the perks of their jobs. Oh yeah, especially with a lot of mind control, you can force people into an induced state. Women, you're at home, you're going to sleep, you take a shower, you know, okay, you're going to bed, you're all clean, you have no husband or boyfriend, you haven't found the one yet, right? You're enjoying single life. Now the perps can come in and sexually assault you with specific technology. That's what they're working on. That's, you know, not to mention, they have access to, these are high level perps. Remember, their pockets are deep. They don't have like a limit. So they can pay off your landlord and they can come into your home and they can drug your food and drinks. Yeah, with date rape drugs. So that way, you know, you're having your, you know, whatever, and it was drugged. And when you go to sleep, you're in an induced state of sleep, and a lot of those drugs produce an amnesic effect, which means that you won't remember the sexual assaults, which is, of course, the point. They can't have you, you know, pointing out your perpetrators, because then it would eventually lead back up to the top. So probably people at the top give them access to those wonderful drugs that cause amnesic effects, right? Because, again, when Dr. Hall interviewed a lot of the people, they reported sexual assault and drug-facilitated rape was one of the main experiences, okay? So that's why this is horrible. So because the assaults are traumatic, physically and psychologically. You know, what if you're somebody that doesn't have a boyfriend or husband? You're trying to save yourself, right? You know, for whatever. Not saying that you always did, but, you know, you're in a period of life and you're trying to do it the right way. Well, now you got some perps who take it upon themselves to, you know, rape you. Use your body as their own. Why? Because they can. How can they? Because normally you go to sleep and you'd wake up, right? You'd be able to protect yourself. This technology, they have their ways. It is very serious, and they're only adding more, okay? Not to be fearful, but just to be realistic. Of course, this is, you know, this is the world domination. This is moving towards the new world order, okay? We're right in the midst of it, but don't be afraid. That's what we're learning. So this is how you get selected. Oh, also too, the book gives an example of a group of mostly gay men in Palm Springs, California, and they appear to be targeted sexually too via drug-assisted and technology-based sexual assault. Again, this is all trauma-based conditioning. You're causing trauma to people is what you're doing. So those men are sad they're experiencing that, which they probably already experienced that to be that way in the first place. I said it. I meant it. Okay, trauma. Not nice. Okay, so part 2, phase 2 of the surveillance. Phase 2 begins, and it's surveillance of the targeted individual. So they've chosen you. Whether you like it or not, you didn't sign up for it, it's non-consensual, nobody's going to tell you about it, but you know what, we're here. Okay, boom, phase 2, surveillance. This is the part where they size you up, okay? You are their number one concern. You're going to have people assigned to you. You're not going to be aware that it's happening, though. You're not going to know. But what will happen once you're selected? You're extensively surveillanced through things like background checks, credit checks, mail tampering, email hacking, direct observation, both physically and electronically. You'll start noticing stuff on your computer. One time I went to go get a background check for work, and the employer told me, your background's been checked about 5 times already this year. Have you done anything? And I thought to myself, well, no, this is the first job that I've applied to, because I already had a job. I was applying for another one, to pick up hours while I was in school. And that surprised me. 5 background checks by whom? And the guy said, I don't know, you might want to check into it. And I guess one of them was like an investigation agency. And, so anyways, I digress. But that's because they're sizing you up. They're getting to know you, getting to know all about you. For what? To give you kisses and hugs and send you things and, and be your friend, your BFF? No. To harm you, to size you up, to know your strengths and weaknesses so they can break you down and control your mind. And the perps will get a little extra added bonus of getting to rape you. Wonderful. I mean, you don't even have to be that pretty. Are you normal? Are you normal size and weight, more or less? Are you female? Do you have body parts? These people, they're perpetrators. And you know how that can go. Some of them enjoy this, and some of them are just sick individuals, and some of them are stuck in it. Not good. So this is what they're doing at this point. Not attacking yet. They chose you, they selected you, and they're sizing you up. They are taking it all in. They're determining your daily living activities. In the medical field, we call that ADLs, activities of daily living. So when you get up, when you go to sleep, what you eat, when you go to the bathroom, when you get your period. For women, where do you go to school? Where do you work? How do you play? What do you do for fun? How do you spend your leisure time? How do you spend your money? Where do you go get your car washed? What kind of gas do you use to gas up your car? Because this is important for later. Again, when they want to sabotage you, they know where to go, especially the social circle. They watch you, so they know, because that's who you're going to go to for help, right? When all this crazy stuff starts happening, you're going to go to your social circle for help. And they're going to know who you're going to go to, and they're going to try to sabotage that. Of course, you're targeted, okay? Then this is the time when they... Again, they want to destroy these relationships later, so they watch who you spend time with. They identify them and they scale them in order of importance, okay? They keep tabs on your family, your close family, your supervisors, your physicians, even your clergy, at church, your pastor, your elder, your whatever, rabbi, all that. They pay attention to that. So even houses of worship are not sacred in this macabre game of human guinea pigs. Leave me alone at the house of worship. No, of course not. And there's even that instance. Why would they? Because even in, the book of Job, the account of Job, Satan went right into heaven when, Jehovah and the angels were having a meeting. So these people, they go right up in anywhere, just like they belong there, just start looking to cause trouble. Same thing with Judas. Judas was right in the midst of the disciples, right up in there, right? He was the one that gave Jesus a kiss, a fake kiss, the kiss of death, to identify him to the soldiers so that they could take Jesus into custody. Fake friend, right? Right up in the midst. They're not always on the outside. They'll come right in, even in the houses of worship. Okay? And even in your religious circle. So yeah. So during this phase, the perps will often have your neighbors, coworkers, and relatives assisting them with the surveillance. Yes, they want to get everybody in on the action. It's a group effort. Remember, it's mass mind control, trauma-based conditioning. Everybody get in on it. Everybody be traumatized, okay? They accomplished this, though. Let me tell you how they accomplished this. Because remember, this is, well, and again, what did we, oh, I had this all, okay. Okay, just to bring this up again, January is National Stalking Awareness Month, okay? So targeted individuals are definitely stalked in an organized fashion, though. Organized, which makes it all the more scary because, you know, there's a lot of money that goes into it. Again, organized stalking. It is a form of terrorism used against an individual in a malicious attempt to reduce the quality of a person's life so they will have a nervous breakdown, become incarcerated, institutionalized, experience constant mental, emotional, or physical pain, become homeless, and or commit suicide. Okay, organized stalking of targeted individuals. Who is in on it? Who does this? What does this happen to? Who's targeted individuals? Who's the people, the perps that target them? Who pays for this? How is this done? Okay, me, you, and everyone we know. Big old program. Remember that pyramid? Everybody, including us and our friends and family and our clergy and our bankers and our, you know, car salesmen and our doctors and our schoolmates and everybody, you know, can be a victim of this or be targeted by somebody in this. Okay, or know somebody who's targeted. Everybody. I wish it was just to a group of people, but it's not. And why is this done again? For training, research, and development, usually funded by the big corporations for the ultimate goal of mass mind control and carried out many times by the military-industrial complex. And this is also targeted individuals as an extension of this program, counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO. Okay, that was an FBI-ran program, and the FBI was later found guilty of attempting to limit the First Right Amendments of citizens, mainly free speech and right to associate, you know, because they would infiltrate and they would go and stalk and harass people, targeted individuals. There were some famous people targeted by COINTELPRO, Ernest Hemingway, probably Black Panthers. I know there was an instance of a woman who helped, gave donations to the Black Panther Party in the 60s when that civil rights movement was big, you know, for Black people and other people of color. And what happened was, I think the lady ended up killing herself because they harassed her so bad for even helping them, you know, there's that. And then who else? Oh my goodness, I had it on. Martin Luther King. Yeah, Martin Luther King definitely was. Yeah, Ernest Hemingway and that woman, I forget the woman. I think she was an actress. Yeah, she was some type of celebrity and she had donated money to them and they targeted her so bad where she ended up killing herself or she was suicided. But those are sometimes hard to tell, you know, because it can happen both ways, right? Looks like an accident, looks like you know, killed yourself or were just not careful and actually, you know, somebody helped you along the way. All right, I digress. Why is this done? The counterintelligence program, the mind control program, you know, using all this technology on people, stalking them, harassing them, you know, setting up technology to do it. What's going on? Why is this being done? Okay, well, in a nutshell, okay, mass mind control. There you go, pyramid at the top. There's the brain, right? That's a brain, that's hands, moving puppets, right? What's this a representation of? Making people under mind control, mass mind control, okay? That's what it's all about. They want that brain. They want your free will. That's what the brain represents, right? Our free will. Who wants to give that up? No one. Do you? Do you? No. That's why you're watching this. We're at almost an hour. We're going to finish up pretty soon. Okay, so we're talking about the second phase of stalking and how that is surveillance, what they all do when they surveillance you, right? So right, we're at the point where they're talking, it's a big game of deception, okay? So they're misleading people. Again, the people at the very top are the Luciferian worshiping elite. So if you know one thing about Lucifer, again, for those of us who are Christian, the story, well, it is Jehovah is the ruler, you know, the creator of all things. Lucifer, he created, you know, angels and Jesus and humans and animals and the earth and everything in it. And there was an angel that rebelled, who later goes by Lucifer, which is the bringer of light, which is funny because he actually is referred to in the Bible as a prince of darkness. But again, he likes to masquerade as an angel of light. Okay, the Spanish word for light is luz, right? There's lots of plays on it, but it's light. So, but he's not. And also Satan, the devil, means slanderer, and devil is deceiver, right? So anyways, this is a whole game of deception, which is when they're surveillancing you, they are getting your friends and your family and your school work, your coworkers, your school, your bosses, I mean, everybody, right? Me, you, and everyone we know. They're deceiving them in this big game of deception. One of the ways they do it is with bogus investigations, right? They're out there, they're moving and shaking, and they're all in your life because they're surveillancing you. You don't know it yet at this point, but that's what's going on. Okay, so in one instance with Mr. Hall, the private investigative agency doing the surveillance identified themselves to a target's neighbor as FBI agents, complete with fake fraudulent badges. Okay, so many people get intimidated and fall for the scam without even asking for appropriate identification or contacting the alleged agency to inquire if the surveillance is legitimate. Okay, many times people don't know the laws, both state and national, regarding surveillance and right to privacy. Get to know those laws. And I can say that actually happened to me. I had a man ring my doorbell once. This was back last year, and said that he was a detective of some sort and wanted to interview me and speak with me about something, whatever. And yeah, and he came in, he was looking around my home. I shouldn't have let him in. Thinking about it now, I should have refused it. But this is what I'm saying. If you don't know the laws, and when they're wearing that uniform, we tend to get intimidated, especially single women. They really too enjoy targeting single women. And I wanted to say no. I was a little bit skeptical, but I thought, just in case, let him in. I don't want to cause any ruckus. But thinking about it now, I should have asked for a badge number. I should have made a call right then and there, and next time I will. Next time, now I know how to play hardball. So, but definitely get to know your laws on surveillance and right to privacy, because these people know them. Remember, in Dr. John Hall's case, the guy running the private investigation agency was an ex-FBI agent, okay? So they know these laws. They know what they can get away with, plus they're being funded. So they picture themselves, I think, almost like gods. We can come in and do what we want. Kind of like in the old days of the old country, right? Back in United Kingdom, before, as legend says, that we came here, right? Why? Because they were searching and seizing property. So the Roman soldiers or the British soldiers could go, and if there was times of war, whatever, they could go in your house, eat your food, sleep there, do whatever they wanted, use your home as theirs, which, and whatever else. So too much power, right? Right to privacy. And so that was one of the reasons that, the good old US of A was established. That's how legend goes, right? But that makes sense. Nobody wants their privacy invaded. So we need to get to know those laws. I'm going to definitely research into that. So in case this happens, because this is one of their tactics, okay? Big game of deception. I'm an FBI agent, right? I'm running an investigation, okay? Everybody, when you hear the words investigation, I'm investigating your neighbor, okay? Your friend. I'm investigating your boyfriend. I'm investigating your husband. I'm investigating your family member, Remember one time I had... people come to my family member's house looking for my other family member. What are you here for? What do you want? But supposedly they were doing an investigation. Okay, fine, right? And then they look like this, so they look real, legitimate, and they're with the intelligence agencies and da-da-da-da-da, and you better follow the orders, and okay? So just be aware. Be on the lookout for that. And know the laws. Okay, then they got access to fake badges, fake IDs. Look at how realistic and legit these look. Like, I'm sure anybody could order one of these. And there's been cases, we've all heard that, where people, order these and go and pull people over and drive in cop car and, and hurt people, pretending that they're, agents or law enforcement and working for a cause. Okay, so they could be not who they say they are. Right? Or they could be one that actually is, but that's corrupt. You don't know. Maybe the one person, maybe the agent that comes to your door or, calls you in, maybe they're a corrupt one. Maybe they're got their hands in that corporate pocket. Maybe they're getting paid, right, to make sure that things run smooth and that this program doesn't get exposed. Could run into one of those. Oh, they got their badge. They're legit, but they're corrupt. Okay. Just keep that in mind. So that's still phase 2. So yeah, the perps use this scam to their advantage by gaining neighbors' help and the landlords' help and trust in the investigation, the bogus investigation, right? So that later, when they start defaming and slandering the target, okay, they are more likely believed. So this is what is called a smear campaign. All right. It also makes the neighbors less likely to call the police and report vehicles that they see parked and other strange happenings, you know, so that they're opening the door to do illegal activities. They're telling your neighbors, hey, don't worry, you know, we're with the FBI or the DOD. Oh, no, not the DOD. They probably wouldn't come to your door. You know, we're with the DOJ, right? Department of Justice. We are working on stuff. Don't mind us. This man or woman is under an investigation. It's totally legal. You want to comply with us. You don't want to go, you know, we'd hate to see something happen to you. We know you're a patriot. You know, you wouldn't obstruct justice, would you? Okay. And the normal person, like, you're already kind of like skeptical because it's a person in uniform. You don't want to get in trouble, right? So you go along with it. Okay, you're doing an investigation. Fine. Okay. Meanwhile, they're in there doing God knows what to the target's home. Okay. What are they doing in there? They are, you know, maybe because there's a lot of this with the people who are interviewed, there's a lot of sexual assault. Maybe they're in the target's home, probably drugging the food and water supply or the food and drink supply so that they can come later on in the evening and rape the target. And the poor neighbors wanting to help and not wanting to start a problem, let them right in. Landlord opens the door for them. They don't have to break in, right? You don't want to have signs of a break-in. They do this with their bogus investigations. Okay, smear campaign. Let's just look at that so we know what we're talking about here. Excuse me as I go through this. Also interesting, isn't it? Ah, here it is. Okay. So this is all done with their smear campaign. What is a smear campaign? It is this. Okay. A series of lies and malicious gossip employed by narcissists, bullies, and manipulators with the intention of discrediting and destroying someone's character and reputation. That is a smear campaign. And you'll see that a lot in politics, right? They always want to bring up somebody's dirty business. It could have nothing to do with nothing, and they will bring it up. It could be from years ago. You know, the person could have made a genuine mistake, but they'll use it because it's a powerful tool. So remember that. If you hear somebody doing a smear campaign, your first thought should not be, oh, listen to what's being said. Why is this being said? What is the person's motivation? And of course, you know, with this type of situation, their excuse is always that they're, you know, safety and upholding the law, when in fact they're actually breaking the law and going against safety. They're targeting someone, okay, criminally. But just be aware of that, okay? And I know when somebody has on that uniform and they're talking that talk, it's like, oh, you kind of freeze, you know, nobody wants problems, right? But we have to be aware, you know, we can't, you know, we got to be smart, okay? So yeah, gossip and smear campaigns. That is we're still in phase 2. We haven't even gotten to phase 3 yet. There's 6 phases. Let's move it on, huh? So yeah, the neighbors and the family and the friends and the landlords, they all think this is part of a legal investigation. And unbeknownst to them, they are actually helping to execute harassment and many times the sexual assault on an unwitting target. Okay? So yeah, very bad. So just be careful who you're helping. Okay? You got to know both sides, and you have to know that this phenomenon exists. Organized stalking and targeted individuals, right? So phase 3, moving along, right? What is phase 3? It's the actual stalking. Ooh, it's going to get fun. Right? National Stalking Month. What's going on? Overt stalking, right? Before they were surveillancing you, which is also kind of stalking, but it was all hush-hush, you know, through background checks and never talking to you directly. You know, you might have felt some weird things, though. Like in my situation, all of a sudden there's 5 background checks running, you know, within a couple of months or within a year, and that I didn't do, and I didn't apply to these. Well, anyways, I digress. So you don't know during the surveillance. That was phase 2. Now phase 3. They've got the green light, okay? This is when it gets real fun, especially for sociopaths. This is probably their favorite part of the whole operation, okay? So this phase 3 stalking serves an important function to the perpetrators. This is their moment, okay? They get to be total sadistic control freaks. They get the target enveloped in the operation with minimal chance of escape. Because remember, you're a targeted person. This is military stuff. They are on you. You are a target, okay? I don't mean to point, but you guys get it. This is some serious stuff. Let's just get a visual. This is you. You're walking around like this. That's to them. You're this. Hi, I'm Sherry. No, you're not. You're a target. Right? That's what you are at that point. And it's like a dog. You send them on a scent, you know, a hunting dog, and they tree that coon or whatever, right? That's what they call it. Some guy said that to me once. I don't, yeah, I think that's the word for it, tree that coon. That was one of my perps that actually said that. He said, oh yeah, we're treeing that coon. I'll tell you more about that experience one time. But anyways, targeting. This is now it's stalking. Okay, now it's going to be out in the open. Okay, because they know they've got you figured out. They selected you. You're it. Okay, they surveillanced you. They know you're a single woman. They know your schedule. They know where you work. They talk to all your people in case you try to complain. They've got you in their sights. Now they can start stalking you. Okay, they get you totally enveloped in the operation with minimal chance of escape. Okay, it's temporarily and horrifyingly places the victim in a state of hopelessness, especially if your pleas are ignored. Okay, which means most people, not myself, but many people will, when this starts happening, go for help. Okay, they're going to ask because they're, you know, this is so confusing. Like they're being targeted by corporations, by organizations, many times carried out by military. I mean, this is serious business, and they know all the tricks. They know the psyops. I mean, they know you so well after surveillancing you and whatnot. And they have all the tools at their disposal to make your life, to stalk you. So oftentimes people go for help. You know, what do you do when you're being chased? You're going to run to a safe place. And this is where it's very important. Sometimes their pleas are ignored, okay, or they're told, maybe you need some help from a doctor or a therapist, or, I don't know how to help you. Are you sure this is happening? Maybe you need more sleep, maybe this, maybe that, because again, why is this phenomenon happen and people don't know about it? Well, because it's set up to be that way. It's set up to be that way so that people can get help. That's the perfect excuse, right? They're crazy. They're not feeling well. If you're mistaken, you might be mistaken. No, make no mistake. There is a program around the world, okay, that is Project Monarch, a mind control program, and there is, counterintelligence program. It was closed down, but again, this is a modern day version of it. It wasn't closed down. Come on. That particular one was, but then another one reopened. Like liquor stores. One closes down, another one opens down the street. Okay, who are they kidding? Not us, because we're smart. Okay, but yeah. So if you run, this is part of the whole, the whole sting. The whole game of deception is to make not be aware of it. That's why I'm here, and that's why we're talking, because this does exist. Organized stalking and targeted individuals and using non-consensual human guinea pigs. Okay, have been records of it, proof of it. This is what's happening. All right. So that's one of the main reasons the doctor wrote this book, and why I find it important, and why I'm summarizing it. Okay, because to me it's horrifying, and it's scary, and it's also frustrating to just sit there and have somebody gaslighting. This is not happening. Well, it is happening. It is. Okay. So let's talk about it. Enough with the shenanigans. The gig is up. Okay, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. No, we are made in God's image. We are very smart because we're made in our Creator's image. We're smart. We get it. This is not rocket science here. This is bullying on steroids, and it's run by people at the highest level. Again, that pyramid, Luciferian worshiping elite. Sorry, I don't mean to keep harping on it, but you really need to understand that when people are worshiping Lucifer, they are very dangerous and very moral-less or low morals, okay? Not that they can't change, but understand what you're dealing with. Know the enemy, huh? Know the enemy. So yeah, that's why I'm summarizing this. People need to know this exists, and they are not alone, and you can reach out for help. Imagine, let me paint you a picture. Okay, imagine you're chosen for this targeting program. Okay, it's the new year, new funds. Your name comes up. You happen to fit those demographics for whatever reason. Okay, you're single, you're a woman, you're this, whatever, you're a man, you're whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you are, you get chosen to be a guinea pig, and you're a targeted individual. You are going to be stalked by an organization of professional criminals. Okay, this isn't just John up the street. These are professionals usually. I mean, they'll have John up the street too, but the main ones carrying it out, making sure that it goes as planned, they're professional criminals. You know, these are people familiar with medical, military, paramilitary, and agency personnel. You know, the intelligence agencies, FBI people. You know, for goodness sakes, and they have experience, you know, on how to, you know, conquer the target, the enemy, and you're the freaking enemy when you've maybe done nothing, probably no, you know, this is just non-consensual human experimentation for training, research, and development. So their sole focus, these people, is you, targeted individual. Hi, we're here for you. Okay, we're coming for you. And they have extensive funds and technology at their disposal. Okay, so they got money. Scary. Perplexing. I digress. You get it. You get the picture. So organized stalking and regular stalking are hard to prosecute, but not impossible. One of the issues the book mentions is that when the target's homes are broken into, but things are not stolen, only rifled through, the police might think the target is mentally unsound and further complaints might be ignored. Okay? Because again, this is part of the psyops, you know. They're breaking in, but they know not to steal things. They're just rifling through it to unsettle you emotionally, right? It's letting you know we're in your space. You don't have any private space. Okay. So I once knew a woman who was being targeted. I didn't know it at the time, but I know it now. She had been in the military, and some things had happened, and she moved, you know, she came back, whatever, after she was done, and she lived by herself, and she had complaints of people trying to break in. Okay, which is a common tactic. But they would never break, you know, they would just scare her. So, and she kept calling the police and making complaints. Hey, these people are trying to break into my home. So, don't know what happened, if it was just the people were ill-informed, or if it was a nefarious attempt to, you know, to target her and to silence her for whatever reason. Like I said, she had been in the military. So basically, they hospitalized her, labeled her mentally ill, and gave her medication. What a nightmare. And I'm pretty sure that it was happening. I mean, there was no reason for this. Is part of the symptoms of this type of thing. So the inability of the victim to get appropriate law enforcement help instilled the belief that law enforcement is complicit in victimizing them. And sometimes some law enforcement members can be part of the victimization, like I said, but thankfully not all. And finding those who can help us is of utmost importance. You know, there are your good people and there are your bad people. I like to think most people are not bad. So just focus on that. There are some bad ones, but we need to go around them, behind them, through them to get to the good ones. Okay, and God always makes a way. Okay, and through people. God works through people, remember? So maybe you're watching this video and this is the information that you need. I was one of those people watching videos too, and I didn't know what was going on about organized stalking, targeted individuals, what people are used for non-consensual experimentation. It's still being done. Mind control programs run by, you know, legit agencies and government funded and corporation funded. I didn't know that then, but I know that now. So I'm here to summarize and to help whoever needs it get through this and to understand it. And really, at some point, we're all going to be part of this program, mass mind control. Again, trillions of dollars aren't being pumped out just for a few people to be in this program. They want everybody in on it. You, me, and everyone we know, right? Okay. So, let's see. All right, another tactic is, they call it black psychiatry or political psychiatry. Abusive psychiatry is what it is. So basically what that is that's psychiatrists attempting to use their power in an abusive manner. You know the old movie Gaslight, that's a perfect example. In the olden days, and even now, when sometimes when couples are married and maybe the husband finds a new mistress, you know, the wife's gotten a little older and husband finds himself a nice new dandy young mistress and wants to marry her. You know, he doesn't want the old wife anymore. I want the new version. I want what I want. I want it now. I don't mean to just blame men, because some men are really good. But okay, we're not talking about the good ones. We're talking about the ones who would do this type of thing. So say if they want to marry their new mistress, well, they can't if they're still married to their wife, you know, and divorce wasn't as popular in former times as it is now. You know, it wasn't looked upon socially or even religiously, obviously, and politically. It was looked upon with, you know, in poor taste. So what they would do then is try to get the wife seen as mentally ill with the help of a psychiatrist, doctor, and then they could divorce the wife on the grounds that she was insane. Right? Well, she's crazy. I can't, or, you know, even with women with men, he's crazy. I can't be with him. And they would get the doctor to sign off on it. And then, boom, they'd be divorced. The wife would go to the you know, she'll be away. She can't complain. You know, the same thing with the husband. And then the new guy gets to marry his new, you know, the new young mistress, or the girl gets to marry her nice young hunk, you know, and meanwhile, the spouse is out of the picture. Sometimes they kill them. Sometimes they used abusive political psychiatry, okay, with crooked psychiatrists. The thing, there's a whole movie on it. It's called gaslighting, which is funny because that's the term when people are trying to, you know, pull the wool over your eyes, which is a common tactic in this, right? A game of deception, gaslighting. And it's, well, watch the movie. You should watch it. It's in black and white, so it's kind of hard to watch, but it's really interesting how this woman husband is trying to do this to her, to run away with his mistress and take all her money because she's the one who had the money, and the lengths that he goes through to get her to think that she's crazy herself, and then get the doctor to label her crazy so that he can, you know, have the house and the money and ride off into the sunset with his new mistress, okay, well, which would be his new wife at that point, okay? So doesn't work out because she gets some help, but you should watch it. It's a good one, Gaslight. It's probably on YouTube or something. It's good stuff. So yeah, gaslighting. So abusive political psychiatry. Some parts of the program are done corruptly with psychiatric professionals who will falsely diagnose people. It's a perfect crime when the harassment is carried out by professional criminals with big funds and contracts to cash in on, right? Because remember, they're in cahoots. You know, maybe the psychiatrist belongs to a secret society, right? Whatever, a Jesuit or something. And then maybe the person targeting the individual is also, you know, they're in the brotherhood together. So boom. There you go. We're going to do this, and that's how we're going to, okay. So this is done. Psychiatry, abusive psychiatry. And it's easy nowadays, and this is why we need to be aware, because much of the technology is invisible because it's electromagnetic frequency based. Okay, so like every time we think a thought, like right now, I'm sure my brain is lit up with electromagnetic frequency. So is right now our broadcast, but you can't see the wave, you can't see the frequency. It's invisible to the naked eye. We could measure it if we had, you know, the proper equipment, but in general, these type of things are invisible. So, and when things are invisible in the human realm, we tend to not give them as much respect or pay as much heed to them as we should, because it's a real thing. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? If, for those of us who are Christian and believe in the true God, we know that God exists. We know that the angels exist. You know, we don't have to see them, but we know that, okay? So these crimes now, with the advanced technology, the crimes being committed are done with invisible technology. So perfect crime for the criminals, horrible crime for the victims because it's hard to prove, okay? The perps, you know, they can do things like remote neural monitoring, monitor you from the inside out using your own audio and visual cortex, which we went over in Chapter 4. Use infrared equipment to see you right inside of your home, through the walls or any building, most buildings. And they can even broadcast things to your visual and audio cortex. You know, put things right in there. Nobody else will be able to see it or hear it because it'll be directed to your specific frequency, right? Your visual or audio cortex, not the person next to you, right? So that's technology, makes that possible. It's not science fiction anymore, it's science fact. So without people knowing how this technology works, though, this crime can easily be seen as a mental illness, when in reality, it's a real crime being done with real high technology equipment in this 21st century. All right, so what should we do? We should research advanced technology. We really should make it your business, because again, the goal of them is mass mind control. If you have a mind and don't want it to be controlled, research this technology, okay, to make yourself aware. And then the laws need to catch up to the technology. We have laws that are based off of, you know, what, 1950 technology. We've come so far. You know, you shouldn't have to be, if this is happening to you, you shouldn't have to worry about how it comes across to a, you know, to law enforcement or to psychiatrists shouldn't even play a fact, because this is, unless they're dealing with the after effects of being targeted or harassed in that manner, you would need a soul healer, right? Psyche is the Greek word for soul. So psychiatrist, a doctor of the soul, you know, you need it for that, for coping after you've been through all this trauma, the trauma-based conditioning. But as far as understanding how this works and what's being done, that needs to be a conversation that we keep having until society, we all get on the same page, okay? Same page. Let's go, right? The broadcast is going on right now. Is it magic? No, it's frequencies. Brain runs on frequencies. Body runs on frequencies. The environment runs on frequencies. Radio, TV, microwave ovens, X-ray machines, you know, pretty much your cell phones. You know, there's no wire. How are you able to talk to somebody in a whole nother country even? Through electromagnetic frequencies, broadcast, signals. So it really is not a surprise. So that's good. We're living in good times. Let's keep spreading the word. Let me just see here how close we are. Pretty close. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about remote neural monitoring. Okay. Oh, and we did talk about this, I believe. Oh, again, cyber stalking, which is one of the ways. That's during the surveillance stage, right? Selection, and then surveillance, and then stalking. So now we're in the stalking. We're talking about the stalking phase, where they use psychiatry abusively. That could happen. And then one of the ways the technology is remote neural monitoring. But this is just saying how, like, when you're being surveillanced, what they can do. They use the internet or other electronic means to stalk or harass you. It also can include false accusations, monitoring, identity theft is a big one, threats, solicitation for sex, or gathering information that may be used to threaten or harass. And I remember going through some of this. I remember going on dating sites, regular dating sites, and just, you know, making normal profile, no sexy pictures or anything, you know, just normal. And I'd have guys like sending me pictures of their, you know, of their anatomies and stuff when I really never asked for it. And I know that happens from time to time, but this was like an unprecedented amount. Like every little envelope I opened on was a guy showing me his, you know, his anatomy. And I'm like, and they weren't even guys that I would, you know, I would think would normally even, it was odd. And then I remember my social security card got stolen several times, actually just recently, again. So that's part of that. Cyber stalking, that's what that is, okay? And that's one of the tactics that's used when you're a targeted individual. And again, why is this? Because there is a program, mind control, MK Ultra, CIA run program, that's what it's called, back in the 50s. It's supposedly ended in the 70s, but it still very much exists. It's called Project Monarch now. But that's where all of this comes from, okay? And why do they put people through so much? Why is this? It's a form of trauma-based conditioning, okay? To, you know, that's another way of doing mind control, is by modifying people's behaviors through trauma, okay? Because like I said in my other video, even perps are traumatized by actually committing, you know, atrocities against targeted individuals, because sometimes they don't want to. I mean, you have your perps who love it, right? Sociopaths, but most people are not sociopaths. Most. Some are. Most are not. So, you know what I mean? You're causing trauma to everyone, to the targeted person, to their friends and family who have to witness them being traumatized, and to the actual people, the ones with a soul and with a conscience, who are doing it and don't want to be doing it. They're forced to abuse somebody that they don't necessarily want to abuse. Okay, all in the name of, you know, people at the top of the pyramid want that mass mind control. That's what they're going for. Remote neural monitoring. This is one of the ways when you're being stalked, how they'll do it. This is based, again, off of my favorite word of 2018, electromagnetic frequency. And if you understand that the human body works not just on flesh and bone and the skeletal system, has an electrochemical system, but it also has a frequency. It operates on frequency. Each organ, each body part vibrates at a certain frequency, okay? And each thought, and each emotion ever felt, sad, mad, glad, and all the sub-emotions, when the brain thinks of them, they come off an electromagnetic frequency that can be read. Your thoughts and minds can be read. They can read your mind, sure. They've been able to since the 70s, okay? So when you think of a thought or emotion, this is what your brain looks like lit up, okay? Because it's electromagnetical. Because the brain also, that other picture that I showed you, of course, it looks like that organ, right? You know this picture. That's what it looks like. But it also looks like this, okay, on the inner workings. So again, every thought and every emotion is an electromagnetic frequency, and can be read remotely by a machine called an electroencephalogram that reads the waves that come out, you know, that your brain is sending out. So, and those waves, frequencies, represent thoughts and emotions. And thoughts and emotions end up being behaviors, right? So I think that I have a good idea, therefore I will make a video to share it. That's the behavior, that's observable. But before I could make a video, I had to think the thought first. The thought came to me. Emotion, I feel happy, so I'm going to sing. Okay, first, the observable would be I'm singing, but before I sang, I felt happy. Okay, so thoughts and emotions turn into behaviors, observable behaviors. So if somebody is able to manipulate the frequencies, which are your thoughts and emotions, then really they're manipulating the actual behaviors that would stem from that. Maybe you wake up happy, maybe a little frequency comes in and makes you feel sad or mad when you really woke up happy. Okay, that would not be good. Or it could be opposite. You could wake up sad and they could send you a frequency to make you feel happy, send in one of your happy thoughts to you. That'd be wonderful. Okay, so that's an option too. But that's how all that works, electromagnetic frequencies. Okay, so what we're talking about is remote neural monitoring. Remote neural monitoring, remotely from a distance, monitoring the neural activity in the brain, your thoughts and emotions, reading your mind remotely. That's what it means. It's just a fancy way of saying it. So how they do this is using satellite-based technology. Chapter 4 covers this. I made a video on it if you want to go look. But to sum it up, remote neural monitoring is the ability to use a person's own EEG pattern of their brain waves, officially called a brain signature, which is unique to everyone like fingerprints. Okay, once the perp groups have access to this brain signature, the person, so each person's brain signature is like our fingerprints, and our electromagnetic frequency is set on a certain station. That's our station. Each person has a different station, okay, just like radios. So yeah, once, if people have access to this, the person can then be broadcasted into, and if they have things like nanotechnology, anyways, the ability exists to remotely monitor someone's thoughts and emotions in real time at that, okay? And this is because of something called BCI, which is brain-computer interface, is what it sounds like. You're interfacing the brain and the computer. You'll notice that in things like when people get prosthetic limbs and they get a chip in their head that transmits to the arm, the prosthetic limb, to move. That's because you're interfacing the literal human brain with the computer, okay? So you're mirroring them. I work in the medical field. I know there was a young man that had a chip in his eye. He couldn't move or talk. He was in a wheelchair. But when he sent the signal from his eye, went to his computer, it could read his thoughts and say them, for him. And then, like Stephen Hawking too. And then he also, what else could it do? It could move his wheelchair as well. So very, very powerful technology. Brain-computer interface. And it can all be done remotely. So they don't need to be, you think this could happen, you got to be able to see people. Nope, it can all be done remotely. That's what they worked on back in the 70s. That's what Chapter 4 covers. Go look over that again. You'll like it. So yeah, brain-computer interface. That's right. That's what their remote neural monitoring is able to do. So again, yes, we can read your mind. They have been able to for a long time. It's the 21st century. Okay? They've been researching it, spending bunches and bunches of money on it. So it wasn't for nothing. Yeah, and again, this can all be done in real time. So when you're being stalked, say for instance, you're going to go to the grocery store. You got your grocery list in your head. Okay, you don't got to write it down. Maybe it's not a big one, just a few items. Okay, now remember, this is high level. This is high levels that have big money doing this. Okay, so this is corporations, universities, medical research type of stuff being funded from the top, right? Okay, so they have access to this machinery. They just got trillions of dollars. You don't think they have this? Who else would have it? Them. Okay, because you're going to experiment. Not the people with the money, they have it, but they're not going to use themselves to be the guinea pigs. No, it's going to be used on the population funded by the corporations, carried out by people like the universities, right? Medical, you need medical staff to do this, okay? And then you need, well, let me pause for a minute. Okay, just to reiterate, the EMFs are in our environment all over, okay? From the towers to the drones, in our homes, with the phones, with the TV, cable, in our environment outside. Everything runs off of EMFs. Our brains, our bodies, and our environment, which again is how this mind control advanced technology works. Another example, EMFs. they can, electromagnetic frequencies. That's how this broadcast is being sent out. Okay, with radio waves, with TV signals. Signals is another word for frequencies. Waves, frequencies, signals, all interchangeable. Same thing. You're sending information from one spot and getting it back and forth. Okay, microwaves. Okay, ovens. Infrared rays. That's how what they use can see you inside of your home or inside of buildings. Okay, usually the military uses it, but it doesn't have to be used just on, the enemy. It can be used on guinea pigs too. Some lights, ultraviolet rays, and X-rays. Just to give you an example of how they're used in our environment. Okay, and again, the brain, right? Our brains are a giant antenna, right? Like that phone, it's just picking up signals. We're smart. The brain wants to know. It's taking in stimulation. It's taking in everything, which is wonderful. It's how we're built. The problem is that they figured out how to imitate our natural frequencies and then send them back into us. So here your brain is it's picking up stuff that's not, that's coming in, and God knows what it is, right? Thoughts that maybe are not of our own. I don't like that. Send in anything to me that I didn't naturally come up with. But do they listen? No. So remote neural monitoring. They can read your thoughts in real time because of the electromagnetic frequencies. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the grocery store thing I was talking about. So what happens? You make your grocery list in your head. Only a few items. You don't need a list. You're thinking it. You never said it to anybody. You didn't write it down. So technically, nobody should know your grocery list. Oh, but, because of remote neural monitoring, they've got you monitored. Remember, this is a big university. They just got money. You're on their list. All right. What's Sherry doing? What's she doing? Going to the store? Oh, she's going to get this, this, this. Let's test to see if our system works, right? You go to the store. Kid you not. Maybe you're getting 5 items. Each item that you go to get, there's somebody in the aisle, a perp, waiting for you. And they'll let you know, because they need the feedback. They can't just do it and not see if it worked, right? They're testing their technology, training, research, and development. They got to make sure all these fancy gadgets work before they enroll them on the masses, right? There you go. You got 5 items. Each aisle you go to, somebody is right there. Okay, now for somebody who doesn't know remote neural monitoring exists and they're being stalked, this is the moment where you could think you're maybe getting a little mentally ill or a little crazy. You're not. You're not. Okay? That's the good news. The good news is you're not crazy. Okay? That's the great news. Okay? Bad news is we got some really high technology that is capable of committing atrocities in the hands of psychopaths that are wanting to dominate us. That's the bad news. But the good news is you're not crazy. Okay? So, ta-da! Remote neural monitoring. They can read your mind. So even things like a shopping list that you never told anybody or wrote down, they still know it. And again, this is big money. So, yeah. So remember, these are contracts for experimentation, medical weaponry, research, and development. So all the bells and the whistles with the gadgets, to harass those unlucky, chosen, targeted individuals. Okay, so I'll repeat it again. There exists a technology that can read your thoughts live in real time and send them back to you in real time. You thought of a thought, poof, they got it. They can send it back to you, or a different one. I want to go to the store. Oh, maybe they don't want you to go to the store. Poof, send something back into you and change your behavior, right? Behavioral modification. That's what the name of the game is. All right, so this is going to be a long one. I don't think we have time for all this today, unfortunately. We'll have to come back to this. We shall have to come back to this. Yeah, there's so much. I do want to just cover 2 more things, okay? With the defamation and the smear campaign. This is part of the stalking. It goes hand in hand. So inevitably, the stalkers are sometimes caught and questioned by your neighbors or your landlord. And so the excuse given is that the stalking is actually legal, right? Because the target is under an investigation. Don't worry, it's all legal. It's okay. We need to be in her apartment or his apartment, okay? We need to be looking at their car. We need to be, we need to be in their life. No, they don't. But that's what they're going to say. And then they tell the people, you're under investigation. They make it sound good, for drug or sex crimes, real bad stuff. Make other people kind of look at you twice, like, oh, really? Sex crimes, drug crimes, okay. Well, I better help them out here. You know, so much of the stalking is done by private investigation groups. They often have former police officers and agency personnel on their payrolls. Remember, so these are retired cops, or just, you know, they're not retired. They, you know, they were ex-cops or ex-FBI, you know, intelligence agency people. So they know their stuff, and they have close relationships, right, with the local municipalities. You get a guy who was a cop or maybe a deputy or something, or a state trooper, yeah, he's still going to have his connections in the communities, you know, with the municipalities. He's going to know some of the other cops, you know, some of the other, you know, maybe lawyers and judges, you know, they know because they're all in the same field. The medical field is like that too. Sometimes, I mean, I'm at the low end of it, obviously, because of some of this targeting, you know. They like to destroy your career. But anywho, so you know people anyways within your field, whether you're on the high or top, we all kind of, you're familiar with at least. So yeah, same thing with these people. So neighbors and others are often convinced that since someone is being stalked 24/7, then it's a legitimate agency, then you got to be somebody really dangerous. I mean, that's what I would think too, right? The natural human response. My goodness, this much manpower on this person. This person must be a super criminal. They must be having a drug lab in their basement. They got some kidnapped people. They are doing something super illegal, okay? And then you kind of maybe would get scared, or maybe, you know, like, what is going on? I better let them do their business and get rid of that dangerous person, right? That's our normal human response, because they're gonna talk that talk. Right? They're doing their investigation. It's legal. It's for safety because this person is really dangerous. Meanwhile, they're the dangerous ones. Okay? Many times, remember, these are just private investigators. They'll lie about their status. You know, they were intelligence agency people. They were police, you know, law enforcement or military or paramilitary. And then sometimes they still could be. Remember, corruptness runs at all levels. But for this example, it was a private investigation group, you know, that was saying they were a legitimate agency. So, yeah, it usually does not cross people's minds that the person could be a targeted individual under non-consensual experimentation for research and development testing for medical technology and weaponry projects. All right, we're going to leave off, but I just want to mention at this point, you're going to start to see something called ostentation. And I printed it out. Okay, ostentation. Oh, and here, you know, like I said, it's so easy to get these badges, right? Look at how legit they look. I mean, this is just from one little search, but imagine if you really went to a company that specialized in making these. Man, you could be anything. You could make yourself an FBI agent for the day, you know, LAPD, whoever, sheriff's deputy. That would be a little harder to pull off, right? I think you just go with the more secretive agencies, FBI, right? Yeah, put on a little uniform. I don't know about you guys, but I look good when I'm dressed up. I look legit. I could, you know? Not that I would, I'm just saying, people can get away with this. It's not that hard, right? Look at. So be aware, everything is not as it appears to be out here. Anyways, I digress. Ostension. This is what you will start to see after all this. This targeted individual is, let me just, for emphasis, they're really a guinea pig, and they're in an illegal targeting program. They are being targeted. This is on their back every day, all day. So they are getting harassed. They are getting stalked. Their things are being gone through. They're getting at work. They're getting harassed at home. I mean, they're getting the gamut. Okay. And what you'll start to see is an acting out. Okay. At this point, sometimes the TI will go to extreme measures to deny the allegations and confront the abusers, which makes the problem worse because then they are seen as acting out by those who don't know the scandalous truth. You know, because people don't know about this targeting program. People don't know about guinea pig. You know, if they do, they think it won't happen to them, or that was done away with and laws were set into place. Yes and no. Laws were set into place, like, you know, things have been done, but it's a constant process that we need to do because the powers that be are intent on getting this mass mind control. So they're not going to stop, you know, using us as guinea pigs, and we need to not stop educating ourselves on the whole process of that and, you know, protecting ourselves, you know, using whatever means that we have to do so. Mainly awareness and legislation, okay? That's our weapons right now. So, you know, so you're going to see people acting out, and this is what it's called when you start seeing acting out. Because remember, this person is being targeted. They're being hunted down like an animal, okay, by professionals. So ostentation, told you I'd find it. It's an act or a process of showing, pointing out, or exhibiting. Acting out behaviors, right? They're getting triggered all the time. Trigger, trigger, trigger. Mess with you at work, mess with you at school, you know, talk about how bad of a person you are, slander your name, lie on you, say you did this, you know, you look bad, you smell bad, you just, you know, you don't do this right, you don't, you know, abusiveness, trauma, because it's a trauma-based conditioning program, okay? Mind control. You're traumatizing everybody. You're traumatizing the person, and then the people who are doing it are traumatized because they're doing it. The ones that have consciences, that is. So yeah, higher level targets, because remember I said we're all in this pyramid together, you know, wherever we fit in there. You know, we're at the top, we're at the bottom, in the middle, you know, blue collar workers, white collar workers, educated, non-educated, different levels of education, different walks of life, different religions, different colors, different cultures, but we're all in that pyramid together, you know, we're in the world. So what happens is there's higher level targets too, of course, right? Because if lower levels are targeted for experimentation, higher levels also are targeted for experimentation, but then for things because they have the power to make a difference sometimes, you know, so they're targeted. So people in the military, you know, nobody's left out from this. This is not political thing. This is not a race thing. This is not a culture thing. This is honestly, it's a spiritual battle. It's Jehovah's people against Lucifer's people, okay? That's what it is. And the people at the top, you don't believe me, you laugh. But the people who print your money, okay? I don't know where you guys all live, but in the United States here, world power for right now, you know, our money is printed by people who are very much, okay? Not all, but many of them are into that, you know, into that type of religion. So yeah, so anybody can be targeted if you're not willing to get on, you know, get on board with that. And so it can be higher level targets, such as people in the military. They probably get it a lot worse, you know, clergy, doctors, lawyers, engineers, public figures, you know, they're defamed viciously. So just be careful if you ever see somebody's name being dragged through the mud, you know, and you think, oh my goodness, just give it consideration before you jump on board and start bashing them too. You know, try to think of all the tricks, try to think of the complete story as a whole rather than just jump to conclusions, you know? Because when people are acting out and acting illogical, it's not just because they're crazy, it's something is triggering it. What is triggering it? Just saying. Sometimes people are just SOBs and like wicked to the bone, but so, oftentimes not. Most people are not. Not saying that as an excuse, just saying. Yeah, so this is where we shall leave off because there's a couple other things we want to go over. I'll show you the key points again. I didn't realize this was going to be a two-part video, but it is. So we covered, you know, what is a TI, the rise of the TIs, what does Dr. Hall say about TIs, is he one? We still don't know, I still didn't tell you. 6 phases of targeting, or did I? We don't, okay, well just for now. Is he one? And then we talked about the 6 phases of targeting, selection of a target, which again, we're in the new quarter here, so there's some selected. Surveillance on these chosen targets, overt stalking and harassment, defamation, which is what we just went over, smear campaigns and gossip, fake investigations. And next we'll talk about, you know, phase 5 and 6, which is attacks and monitoring. You know, the monitoring after all this is done, not different from the surveillance. And then black psychiatry, we talked about a little bit. Remote neural monitoring, we talked about. So it looks like, yeah, we talked about defamation. Next thing we're moving on to is scams pulled by the perps. Okay, so you know the fake investigation scam. There's also a drug addiction scam where they try to make you look like you're a drug addict and you're not. So be careful for that. And then also we're going to talk about stalker laws, defenses against defamation, and electrical disturbances in the home and how that's done. So yeah, we shall talk about that later. And again, just to leave off, okay, pyramid, these are the perps who are doing it. All of us are in here together, but this one is a pyramid of perps. So you got those at the top, corporations with deep pockets, you know, secret societies, government, which is, you know, military industrial complex, federal, state, local, county, city. You got your universities in there. Usually universities are state owned, at least ours in Wisconsin are, you know, so they're state funded and state ran. Okay, so fits right there. Organized crime syndicates, you got your mobs, you got your Russian mobs, your Jewish mobs, your Italian mobs, you know, mobs. Then you got your street gangs. Everybody knows, right? Everybody knows who knows somebody who knows something about it. And excuse me a moment. Yep, guinea pigs, investigation. We talked about all of that. I think we'll leave off. I like this. I'll have to see that. It's actually like a movie poster, but yeah. You, me, and everyone we know. And we want to stay off this targeting. We want to not be a target, but you can't help it. Once you're selected, you're selected. But at least learn how to deal with it. Okay, trauma-based conditioning, Project Monarch. Our brain is a big old antenna, just picking up everything. Because it's smart like that. It wants to know. You know, it's like the friendly, it's like the friendly, you know, like you ever have like a friendly dog that wants to just come up to everybody, you know, and you're like, oh, our brain, you know, because our brains were never meant to be really hacked into. Shouldn't have to worry about that. Shouldn't have to live like that. But, you know, that's where we're at. So, we've got powerful toys in the hands of people who are, you know, low morals. Okay, here's your perks. One more time. Bam. Okay, that's an obvious one. He's not well. Right? And then you got your other perks. These ones, uh-oh, smiling faces. Okay, they look normal. They might be nice, but they could be perpetrating, right? Got the psychiatrist in there. Might be smiling in your face all the time, writing, writing out that you're crazy. Knowing you're telling the truth. Watch it. You know, you got that dentist doing implants, right? Maybe they slip you a little chip because they got some money on it. That's how it happens. Same thing with the doctor, right? They're a surgeon. You know, you're supposed to be getting surgery on your shoulder. Oh, well, might as well put a little chip in there while we're at it. You know, whatever. I get paid X amount of money for putting so many people on this chip thing for mind control, advanced, you know, training, development, and research. Okay. All right, these are perps, more perps. This is what they all start to look like when you're a targeted individual. Picture him a targeted individual and picture them the perps. That's what it ends up feeling like. They're all after you and they all want your dang brain. They all want to traumatize you. And like these zombies, they don't know any better. They're just like, ugh. That's what perps can turn into when they, you know, when they get super, you know, because they're taking orders. They just have that, they want access, they want to harass you, they want to traumatize you. And the higher levels, they want access to that brain. Why? Because they're on a hive mind. That's how they are. You're the honey. They're the bees. They're swarming you. Means a lot of them, right? Be careful. Perps. Fake friends. Everybody looks like a sheep. Everybody is a sheep. Oh, except that one. Got to keep an eye. All right. So for now, that's it. I'll leave you off with scripture. 2 Corinthians. I found it. We were talking about Paul. You know, how he said, it's in 2 Corinthians 4, 8 through 12, and it says, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. That's a good one. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. So, tough times, we're going to get through them. That's the point. All right, that's it. We will continue. I wanted to finish this, but that's all right. We'll have to finish it in a few days. Okay, guys? But it was so fun visiting with you. I thank you for your time. It was valuable. So was this information. I'm glad you got it. So stay smart. Do your research. Okay? Check out Mr. Hall's book, $7.99 on Kindle, $10 to $20 if you order a hard copy, and it'll come to you Amazon. Pretty quickly. It's worth it. It's only about a 4-hour read, so you can split that up. You can read it in a couple days. You can read it in a couple weeks or a month or 2 months, whatever. Go at your own pace. But it's definitely worth investing in. Okay? So I'll check you guys out later. Have a good, have a good start to your new year, okay? Thank you. God loves us. Keep up the good work. All right? And may the odds be ever in your favor. I always want to say that. Yeah, may the odds be ever in your favor, in our favor. All right, guys, take care. Thanks, bye.